Hey, what's up, fight fans? We do have some breaking news. Chris Eubank Jr. have been fined 100k for that egg slap, and honestly, that is too much money. But we are going to talk about in this video. We are also going to talk about Conor Benn boxing license. What's happening? What's the progress? I'm sure you want to know. Well, I want to know too. And if you've got more information on that, please drop down your ringside opinions because I want to know. We are also going to talk about after the suspension. Obviously, Conor Benn had to jump straight into fighting Chris Eubank Jr. Could he have taken a warm-up fight? Maybe, maybe not. Let me know what you think. We're also going to talk about the rehydration clause and everything surrounding that. So number one, let's talk about that 100k egg slap. Listen, that is so much money, and I wonder how they got to sit down and put the value on that. Well, let's charge him 100k. But let me tell you something. That slap, I personally do not call it a slap. I call that a marketing stunt, and that have helped to publicize or market or sell the fight way more, because Chris had to do that, and he basically made the fight very, very personal. And now we don't have to say it's because of their father's legacy, but hey, Conor will say, you slapped me and you tried to embarrass me, and then now I have to fight and show you that I am a better fighter and boxer than you. But I feel like also that is the best 100k Chris Eubank Jr. have ever spent. Listen, I would like to know your ringside opinions in a comment. Let me know what you think about that. Number two, we are going to talk about Conor Benn's boxing license. Obviously, he's been banned for 2 years and now have come to an end. And apparently, up till now, he doesn't have a boxing license. And one thing that really baffled my mind is that they sold us all the fights, did all the fight promos. I was talking about the fight tickets, did all the fight promos, and they have a fight date, and he does not have a license, which got me thinking, right? If I give you an analogy, so let's say you are an establishment that sells alcohol or any other thing that requires a license. If you do lose your license, what you need to do is to get the license back before putting on any event. But what Eddie and Conor have done is quite unique and different. They've put on the fight date, sold the ticket, they did all the press conference, and Conor do not have boxing license. Well, this is a good thing because that forces the board or British Boxing Board or whoever that is to say, hey, we don't want these people to lose all this money. Let's go forward and offer Conor Benn this license. And now it get me thinking, so all this time you had to wait for this fight to happen and then give him a license? Or if there's anyone that have more information, please drop down your ringside opinions or even news or even knowledge and share that with us. Another thing that we are going to talk about is obviously Conor Benn have been suspended for 2 years, and the last person that Conor Benn did fight was actually Pete Dobson. That was in 2024. And here's the thing, was Conor Benn on substance when he fought Pete Dobson? I don't know. I feel like that's something that they need to also check, because if he was, does that mean that his aggressiveness, his power, everything else, is he related to substance? Well, listen, I don't know. I'm asking for a friend. Another thing that I was thinking about is that, okay, so now Conor Benn have just came back from this suspension. He's not fought anybody since then, which means he's been outside the ring for 2 years. Can he take a warm-up fight before he fights Chris Eubank Jr., who I think it is Conor Benn's biggest test to date. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like Chris Eubank Jr. have been in the ring with so many great fighters, and he's basically throw himself in there. He's learned, he's developed his own victory, his own style, and basically built his own name based on the people that he's for. I'm not saying Conor Benn have been fighting journeymans, but I feel like the fighter that Conor Benn have been fighting, they are not up to the caliber of fighters that Chris Eubank Jr. have been fighting. And I'm like, rah, you're coming off to not being in the ring for 2 years, and then you just gonna go and fight Chris Eubank Jr. Number one, I feel like that's a big mistake, but then again, what do I know? I'm just a boxing journalist, and I will leave that up to Conor Benn. But if it was him, honestly, I would have taken at least a warm-up fight without the substance. I'm saying that because, listen, you get caught, that's how we know you had something inside you. Obviously, eggs contamination, we'll say that allegedly, but I feel like taking that warm fight is just like you test yourself and see, okay, do I really still have to get everything as second nature, or do I have to work on A, B, C, D? But hey, again, we'll leave that up to Conor. Another thing that I think that Conor was so lucky, and when I mean was so lucky, is that the British boxing fans supported him so much, because I feel like Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, the rivalry that they had, obviously so many people had a side that they were on, and even the younger generation, more people really supported Conor Benn than they supported Chris Eubank Jr. And I'm telling you that because I've actually seen that for myself. Conor had so many fans. Conor had everyone basically cheering for him and hoping he's going to become that next big British boxer. And now the boy went and ruined that himself. And when I say ruined that himself, I feel like this label that he's put on himself to be called a drug cheat, it is just put him in a position where, like, even now, even though people can believe him, they'll be like, nah, he's not too credible because he had some drugs in him. Obviously, Conor Benn say I had to go and pay £1 million to go and prove my innocence. To me, if you say that, that discredits every organization that does the testing, because if you get caught and the British Boxing Board, they decide, okay, we are going to revoke your license, and then you say I'll pay the £1 million to prove that I'm innocent, that to me does not really make much sense. But hey, again, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to share my ringside opinions with you guys so you can tell me what you think. Another thing that I actually am going to say between the two fighters, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, when you really watch the way both of them communicate, I would say that Chris Eubank Jr. communicates way more smarter and is very well articulated than Conor Benn. And there's something that my dad used to tell me when I swear. He says, if you have an argument with someone and they swear a lot, it means that person doesn't know how to articulate themselves, and they don't really know how to basically translate what they're feeling, and then it becomes rage and anger. And if you actually watch the way Conor Benn speaks, is that he's an idiot, I'll knock him out, he's A, B, C, D. But when you watch the way Chris Eubank Jr. speaks, he really makes things make sense. Obviously, he takes that from his dad, who's also a very smart boxer. By the way, I'm doing like a breakdown of his dad, or documentary. It's almost like a documentary style, talking about his dad and all the fights. Make sure you subscribe for that. Coming back to Chris Eubank Jr., I feel like he's a way smarter person, and that for me give him a very big advantage, because the way smart people think is way different trust me, their thought process is way different. And if you actually see the way Conor fights, Conor is aggressive, Conor is a very hard puncher, and Conor is just Conor. But Chris, he has a style to his boxing. Like I say, Chris has been in a ring with so many people and he's developed his own style. And one thing I didn't like is that he wanted to be a bit of Roy. And now that he's gone back to himself, I like that version of Chris way more. Another thing that I actually need to talk about is that Conor Benn is actually moving up in weight at 160 to fight Eubank Jr. That is a very big thing, but there's a but. But I'm going to start. Moving up into weight is actually not an easy thing, but obviously Chris Eubank is a bigger fighter. He's a smart fighter. Also, he's faster. And I feel like he's also have so much ring experience than Conor Benn. And that is something that might work at Chris's advantage. But when I say but, I meant Eddie is very smart. They really trying to drain. I'm talking about the rehydration clause. They are trying to drain Chris Eubank Jr. so much so they can just take his power away, his focus away, and so many other things. And this fight have so much politics about a rehydration clause and what you can put on after the weigh-in, and so much that they putting that there because they know it's going to benefit Conor Benn. This is why Chris Senior, this is why Chris's dad was talking so much about this, because he understands how much danger that is to his son. Remember, this rivalry started with the fathers, and Conor Benn's dad didn't really have much to talk about this because guess what? His son is moving up in weight and doesn't have that much to lose, in my opinion again. But that's why the senior was talking about this too much, because he does understand the danger of this fight. So I just hope that the rehydration clause is actually going to be obviously good, but also hope that both fighters would get out there safe. And like I said, this is going to be Conor Benn's toughest fight. And this is the fight that I feel like Conor Benn needs more than Chris Eubank Jr. And let me tell you the reason why I'm telling you that. If you look through both of fighters and who they have fought before, you will understand that Chris Eubank Jr. have more fighter that he's fought that have more credit, i.e. those fighters are beast of fighters. They've got experience and they just rank better than the fighter that Conor Benn have fought. Then this is the only fight where when you look back at Conor Benn's fight, you say, okay, Chris Eubank Jr., that was the hardest fight. So if he pulls this off, that will put him in a very, very good position. I repeat, if he beat Chris Eubank Jr., this will put him at a very good position. But if he loses, I know the excuse is going to be, I had to move up to weight. He was a heavier fighter. And I don't want people to keep saying he was a heavier fighter, because right now you took this fight in a hope that you are going to win. If you win this fight, I'll say, cool, you are a great fighter. But if you lose this fight, I'll just say, listen, a better man won. So hey guys, that is all for today's. But hey, if you have more to share on today's topic, please drop down your ringside opinions in the comments, where you are on Chris Eubank Jr.'s side or Conor Benn's side. Because remember, this is the only place where boxing fans hang around, because without you boxing fans, there is no boxing. Also, I want to say this. If you've just subscribed, I really, really appreciate you. And I want you to know that that means so much to me. we've just hit 200 subscribers. That's actually a lot of numbers, and I want you to keep supporting, subscribing, and commenting so we can build this fight fan community. Also, I hope you're well. I hope your mental health is good, and I hope you're having a great day. I'll see you on the next one. Again, if you've got your opinion, please drop them below.